Good evening. The Senate will come to order. We are on the third agenda, order business number 4.
Madam President, your Committee on Commerce Labor, to which we referred Senate Bills numbers 100, 171, 181, 184, 217, 231, 282, 335, has set the same under consideration. Begs of report, same back to recommendation, amended, pass as amended. Signed, Senator Pat Smearman, Chair. Madam President, your Committee on Education, to which we referred Senate Bills numbers 102, 210, 354, has the same under consideration. Begs of report, same back to recommendation, amended, pass as amended. Signed, Senator Mo Dennis, Chair. Madam President, your Committee on Government Affairs, to which we referred Senate Bills numbers 67, 77, 253, 298, has set the same under consideration. Begs of report, same back to recommendation, amended, pass as amended. Signed, Senator Marilyn Dundaro Loop, Chair. Madam President, your Committee on Growth and Infrastructure, to which was referred Senate Bill number 285, has the same under consideration. Begs of report, same back the recommendation, amended, do pass as amended. Signed, Senator Dallas Harris, Chair. Madam President, your Committee on Health and Human Services, to which we referred Senate Bills number 305, 325, has had the same under consideration. Begs of report, same back the recommendation, amended, do pass as amended. Signed, Senator Julia Ratty, Chair. Madam President, Committee on Judiciary, to which we referred Senate Bills numbers 22, 94, 165, has had the same under consideration. Begs of report, same back the recommendation, amended, do pass as amended. Signed, Senator Melanie Scheibel, Chair. Madam President, your Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections, to which was referred Senate Bills numbers 51, 263, has the same under consideration. Begs of report, same back to recommendation, amended, do pass as amended. Signed, Senator James Orenshall, Chair. Madam President, your Committee on Natural Resources, to which were referred Senate Bills numbers 114, 125, has the same under consideration. Begs of report, same back to recommendation, amended, do pass as amended. Signed, Senator, and also your Committee on Natural Resources, to which was re-referred Senate Bill number 112, has had the same under consideration. Begs of report, same back to recommendation, amended, do pass as amended. Signed, Senator Fabian Donate, Chair. Madam President, your Committee on Revenue and Economic Development, to which was referred Senate Bill 395, has the same under consideration. Begs of report, same back to recommendation, do pass. Signed, Senator Dina Neal, Chair. End of reports.
Thank you. Order business number 8, waivers and exemptions.
Notice of exemption, April 19, 2021. The Fiscal Analysis Division, pursuant to Joint Standard Rule 14.6, has determined the eligibility for exemption of Senate Bills 198, 281, 291, 295, 402. Signed, Wayne Thorley, Fiscal Analysis Division. End of notices.
Thank you. Order business number 9, motions, resolutions, and notices.
Senator Dennis has approved the addition of Senator Buck as a primary sponsor of Senate Bill 172. Senator Canizaro has approved the addition of Senator Spearman as a sponsor of Senate Bill 190. Senator Canizaro has approved the addition of Senator Dennis Donate Lang, Neil Orenshall, Ratty, and Scheibel as sponsors of Senate Bill 293.
Thank you. Senator Canizaro.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we take Senate Bills 127 and 177 from their place on the Secretary's desk and place them on general file on the 5th agenda.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Senator Canizaro.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we take Senate Bill 294 from its place on general file and place it on general file for the next legislative day.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And that concludes order business number 9.
Order business number 12, second reading.
Senate Bill number 170, introduced by Senate Committee on Growth and Infrastructure, makes various changes relating to off-highway vehicles. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 122, proposed by Senate Committee on Growth and Infrastructure.
Thank you. Senator Harris.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Harris.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we adopt Amendment 122 to Senate Bill 170.
You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Harris.
Thank you, Madam President. The amendment eliminates references to registration of HOVs and substitutes issuance of decals, closes a loophole so that only an HOV stored and used solely on private land is exempt from the decal requirement, clarifies that a decal is good for 1 year from the date of purchase, converts the punishment for a child not wearing a helmet from a misdemeanor to a civil infraction with the possible fine of $250, makes a violation of the helmet requirement inadmissible in a civil or criminal action, and prevents such a violation from being used in various child neglect, welfare, or custody situations, and adds the director of the Nevada Department of Wildlife as an ex officio member of the OHV Commission.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 170 is ordered reprinted, engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 176, introduced by Legislative Operations and Elections, revises provisions relating to commission to study governmental purchasing. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 387, proposed by Senate Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections.
Thank you. Senator Orenshall.
Thank you, President. I move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Orenshall.
Thank you, President. I move that the Senate adopt Amendment 387 to Senate Bill 176.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Orenshaw.
Amendment 387 to Senate Bill 176 reduces from 2 to 1 the number of bill draft requests that would be allocated for the Commission to Study Governmental Purchasing under Senate Bill 176.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 388 proposed by Senator Spearman.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Amendment 388 to Senate Bill
Did you
176
want to
simply...
move to dispense with the
I'm
reading
sorry,
of the
move to
amendment?
dispense with the reading of the minutes of the
Thank you.
amendment.
If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Ma'am, move to adopt amendment number 388 to Senate Bill 176.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Amendment number 388 simply adds a study of best practices during the interim for the purchasing department.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 176 is ordered reprinted, engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 198, introduced by Senators Canizaro and Ratty, provides for the regulation of on-demand pay providers of people state of Nevada represented in the Senate Assembly doing next as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 413 proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the bill.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Has moved to adopt Amendment 413 to Senate Bill 198.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
It clarifies that a license as an employee integrated on-demand pay provider expires annually, and that a license issued pursuant to this bill is not transferable or assignable. Adds a new section to the bill to prescribe additional requirements and information that must be submitted to the Division of Financial Institutions of the Department of Business and Industry by an applicant for a license, and to prescribe additional reasons for which the Commissioner may refuse to issue a license as an employer integrated on-demand pay provider. As a new section to the bill to require that each employer integrated on-demand pay licensee have in force a surety bond payable to the state of Nevada for a value of $35,000, adds new sections to the bill governing the ability to regulate, investigate, and sanction licensees, and adds a new section to the bill concerning when an employer integrated on-demand pay licensee must provide the division prior notice of certain proposed changes, which if the division does not respond, the changes may take effect after 10 days. Changes the date when an employer integrated on-demand pay provider must submit certain information to the Commissioner. Amends Section 17 to further clarify that an employer integrated on-demand pay provider shall not pursue certain actions against a user absent intentional and willful fraud by the user. In addition, a provider is prohibited from debiting a user's bank account without such user's affirmative consent. Requires the division to submit a report to the legislature, which includes an analysis and any recommendations regarding on-demand pay services and potential changes that may be warranted to the rules and regulations governing on-demand pay services, and changes the effective date of the bill to become effective upon passage and approval for the purpose of adopting regulations and on July 1st, 2022 for all other purposes.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 198 is ordered reprinted, engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 218, introduced by Senator Ratty, makes various changes relating to property of the people of the state of Nevada represented in the Senate Assembly doing act as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 356 proposed by the Senate Committee on Judiciary.
Thank you. Senator Scheibel.
Thank you. I move to dispense with the reading of Amendment 356.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Scheibel.
I move to adopt Amendment 356 to Senate Bill 218.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Scheibel.
Thank you, President. Section 6 provides that Amendment 356 to Senate Bill 218 does the following. Section 6 provides that a landlord may not charge a fee for a rental application except for one prospective tenant or group of co-tenants for one available unit at a time. Such a fee must not exceed the landlord's actual costs, excluding personnel time and administrative costs. Section 7 removes the procedure by which a tenant can request an inspection of the premises prior to the termination of a tenancy. Section 10 provides that a summary of fees, fines, and costs must be printed on the first page of any lease and disclosed prior to the signing of the rental agreement or the tenancy commencing. Such fees cannot be increased without a written 45-day notice for a monthly tenancy or a 15-day written notice for weekly tenancy. Section 12 provides that a rental agreement may not require payment of any fee, fine, or cost unless authorized by statute or actual or reasonable, and eviction fees may only reimburse actual costs. Section 13 provides that a security deposit may be applied for cleaning if the unit is financed by a governmental agency and no cleaning deposit was charged, that a landlord may claim the cleaning deposit but no other amounts for cleaning, and that a landlord must provide an itemized accounting of a security deposit and return the remainder no later than 28 days after the termination, and that failure to do so results in liability for the entire deposit and waiver of a claim to the deposit. It also removes the procedure by which a tenant can file a verified complaint for expedited relief for a security deposit, removes the clear and convincing standard of proof in actions relating to deposits and the requirement of 3 written estimates, and extends for 6 months to 8 months the time in which a landlord may commence an action against a tenant for damages. Section 14 provides that a change in property management necessitates notice to tenants within 7 business days that deposits have been transferred and no new deposits are required. Section 24 provides that an agent of an attorney may not be a property manager of any property in the state. And new Section 28 provides that a landlord may be represented by an agent in an action mentioned or covered by the provisions of Chapter 73, the small claims provisions of the Nevada Revised Statutes.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 218 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 260, introduced by Senator Canizaro, revises provisions relating to internet privacy. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 414, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to adopt Amendment 414 to Senate Bill 260.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
The amendment makes 5 changes to Senate Bill 260. Adds a new section to the bill to exempt certain organizations and information from the provisions of this bill. Clarifies that a data broker is a person whose primary business is the purchase of covered information. Deletes provisions that reduce from 30 days to 10 days the amount of time that an operator is authorized to remedy a failure of providing a consumer notice containing certain information relating to the collection and sale of covered information. It adds a new section to the bill to exempt from the definition of operation a person who does not collect, maintain, or sell covered information, and it amends provisions in Section 11 to remove willfully and simply leave knowingly as the standard for violation of the requirement to provide a notice containing certain information relating to the collection and sale of covered information.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 260 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill 278, introduced by Senator Settlemyre, revises provisions relating to taxation of cannabis. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 233, proposed by Senate Committee on Revenue and Economic Development.
Thank you. Senator Neal.
Madam President, I move to dispense with the reading of amendment number. Okay, sorry. All right, so I will go ahead and read amendment. I move to adopt amendment 233 to Senate Bill S 278.
Thank you. Dispense with the reading of the amendment. No objections, so ordered. Move to adopt the amendment. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Neal.
So Amendment 233 deletes the provisions of the bill as drafted and instead establishes a definition of wholesale sale for the purposes of imposing the 15% wholesale marijuana excise tax. Pursuant to the amendment, wholesale means a sale or transfer of cannabis by a cannabis cultivation facility to another cannabis cultivation facility or another cannabis establishment. The term does not include a transfer of cannabis by a cannabis cultivation facility to another cannabis cultivation facility when both cannabis cultivation facilities share identical ownership.
Thank you. Further remarks? Senator Orenshaw.
Thank you, President. I would like to again disclose that my wife serves as a member of the Nevada Cannabis Compliance Board, and because Senate Bill 278 affects the Nevada Cannabis Compliance Board, I am hereby making this disclosure for the purposes of Senate Standing Rule 23, and I will abstain from voting on this amendment and on Senate Bill 278.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 278 is ordered reprinted, engrossed, into the general file.
Senate Bill number 280, introduced by Senator Scheibel, revises provisions relating to real estate commission. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
Amendment number 404, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Move to adopt Amendment 404 to Senate Bill 280.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
The amendment adds a new section to the bill to require that members appointed to the Real Estate Commission hold office for terms of 3 years, and provides that a member serves until their successor has been appointed and qualified. And it expands the qualifications of persons appointed to the commission to include representatives of ethnic minority groups or underrepresented groups of the state.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 280 is ordered reprinted, engrossed, into the general file.
Senate Bill number 281, introduced by Senator Neal, enacts provisions relating to certain products containing hemp. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
Amendment number 473, proposed by Senate Committee on Revenue and Economic Development.
Thank you. Senator Neal.
Madam President, I move that we dispense with the reading of amendment number 473.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Neal.
I move that the Senate adopt amendment number 473 to Senate Bill 281.
Thank you. You have heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Neal.
Okay. Amendment 473 makes the following changes to the bill. The provisions of the bill are restructured to provide for the administration and regulation of consumable hemp products to be performed by the Department of Health and Human Services and local health boards rather than the Department of Agriculture. The definition of consumable hemp product is revised to specify that it is a commodity or product that contains hemp other than the component of hemp which the USDA generally recognizes as safe for human consumption. It also imposes an excise tax imposed on consumable hemp products, and it's increased from 1% to 3%. The distribution of the revenue from the excise tax as revised is required to a portion of the revenue to be distributed to the Department of Health and Human Services to pay the cost of administration and regulation of the consumable hemp products pursuant to the bill. A portion of the revenue will be distributed to Department of Ag to pay the cost of carrying out provisions of Chapter 557, and the remaining revenue to be deposited in the State Education Fund, an effective date of January 1st, 2023.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 281 is ordered reprinted, engrossed, into the general file.
Senate Bill number 287, introduced by Senator Harris, etc., revises provisions relating to higher education. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 435, proposed by the Senate Committee on Education.
Thank you. Senator Dennis.
Madam President, I move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Dennis.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Senate adopt Amendment 435 to Senate Bill 287.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Dennis.
The amendment deletes most of the language of the bill as originally drafted, except for the designation of the state land grant institutions and effective date of the bill, and adds the following. 1, requires the Chancellor of the Nevada System of Higher Education to develop a plan to manage the assets and resources held by or afforded to the state land grant institution, and requires the Board of Regents to approve such a plan. 2, it includes certain stakeholders on advisory or technical committees the Chancellor may establish in order to develop the plan to manage the assets and resources of the state land grant institutions. 3, requires the plan to be submitted to the Legislative Council Bureau and the Governor by February 1st, 2023, and it includes the requirement that certain funding allocations to the Agricultural Extension and Experimentation Program continue to be appropriated to and expended through those programs established prior to July 1st, 2021.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 287 is ordered reprinted, engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 291, introduced by Senator Lang, provides for the licensure and regulation of master estheticians and instructors of master estheticians. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have Amendment 411, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to adopt Amendment 411 to Senate Bill 291.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
Amendment 411 makes one change to Senate Bill 291. It deletes the bill as introduced and instead authorizes the State Board of Cosmetology to adopt regulations creating a new class of esthetician license in addition to the existing class of esthetician license.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 291 is ordered reprinted, engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 295, introduced by Senator Canizaro, revises provisions relating to industrial insurance. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have Amendment number 417, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Move to adopt Amendment 417 to Senate Bill 295.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
Amendment 417 makes one change to Senate Bill 295. It limits the application of the bill only to compensation paid to certain injured professionals, primarily firefighters, police officers, arson investigators, and emergency medical attendants for disability related to heart disease, lung disease, and hepatitis.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 295 is ordered reprinted, engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 307, introduced by Senator John Darrow Loop, revises provisions related to sale of alcoholic beverages. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have Amendment number 418, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Move to adopt Amendment 418 to Senate Bill 307.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
The amendment deletes Section 2, which prohibits a supplier from discriminating between wholesalers with respect to any other conditions, provisions, and terms of the franchises, including, without limitation, to pricing or freight charges. It amends provisions of Section 3 to prohibit a supplier from requiring a wholesaler to keep a minimum inventory of the supplier's alcoholic beverages or other items that exceed the number of days credit extended to the wholesaler by the supplier, and amends provisions of Section 4 to clarify that the additional 20,000 barrels of malt beverages manufactured by a person who operates one or more brew pubs must be sold to a wholesaler located outside of the state.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 307 is ordered reprinted, engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 308, introduced by Senator John Darrow Loop, provides for the establishment of a work-sharing program. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have Amendment number 419, proposed by the Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Move to adopt Amendment 419 to Senate Bill 308.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
So the amendment provides that the requirement to establish and maintain a work-sharing program is effective only to the extent that funding is available, and amends the effective date of the bill to be upon passage and approval for the purposes of adopting regulations and performing any other preparatory administrative tasks, and on July 1, 2022, for all other purposes.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 308 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 310, introduced by Senator Neal, makes appropriation to Nevada System of Higher Education to enable the College of Southern Nevada to assist and carry out the Nevada Grow program. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 234, proposed by Senate Committee on Revenue and Economic Development.
Thank you. Senator Neal.
Madam President, I move to dispense with the reading of amendment number 234.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Neal.
Right. I move that the Senate adopt Amendment 234 to Senate Bill 310.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Neal.
Amendment 234 provides for the distribution of $200,000 to the Nevada Grow program to establish an incubator program if the state of Nevada receives federal funds before or on after July 1st, 2021, these funds would be authorized to use to assist small businesses impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The amendment specifies that the incubator program is required to assist small businesses in the state who have altered or intend to alter their business models, and sets forth the requirements for the program, which include providing coaching, mentoring, analysis, instruction, and advice, assisting in the development of physical or digital infrastructure for the operation of the business, assisting businesses to secure professional services, facilitating communication and developing connections with general business community, and to the extent practicable, coordinating with the stakeholder group and defined in the amendment.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 310 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 314, introduced by Senator Neal, provides for the regulation of high-volume marketplace sellers. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
Amendment number 405, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with reading the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Move to adopt Amendment 405 to Senate Bill 314.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
The amendment increases from 5,000 to 7,500 the threshold for the definition of a high-volume marketplace seller. Provides that certain information is confidential between the seller and the marketplace, which is kept by the online marketplace solely for the purpose of maintaining records on the seller. Amends provisions to change from 24 hours to 3 business days the amount of time when a high-volume marketplace seller is required to provide certain identifiable information to online marketplace after becoming a high-volume marketplace seller. It adds a new section to the bill to provide that the provisions of Section 3 through 16 of this Act inclusive do not establish a private right of action against a marketplace seller, a high-volume marketplace seller, or an online marketplace. Delete Section 27 of the bill, which authorizes a person who is a victim of a deceptive trade practice to a private right of action, and changes the effective date of the bill to July 1, 2021.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 314 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 381, introduced by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor, revises provisions relating to certain businesses. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
Amendment number 423, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Yes, ma'am. Move to adopt Amendment 423 to Senate Bill 381.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
The amendment revises provisions in Section 1 concerning exemptions from licensure and regulation as a deferred deposit, high interest, or payday lender, or as an installment lender. It amends provisions of Section 2 to increase the initial fee for a provider of service contract to $2,600. As a new section of the bill to define emergency service contract, amends provisions of Section 5 to require a home service contract provider to respond to certain claims within 24 hours and to provide consumer within 72 hours written procedures to expedite such claims, and to expand the way a provider of home service contracts is required to communicate a denial of claims for services. It adds a new section to the bill to require that advertisement, sales, and marketing materials for a home service contract that is not an emergency service contract must include a statement acknowledging that it is not an emergency service contract. It amends provisions of Section 7 to include that a home service provider may also deduct any claims paid by the provider during the current contract year. Deletes provisions of Section 7 and 16 which permit a service contract provider to refund a lender that has financed the purchase of a service contract. Deletes Section 7 of the bill, which authorizes the insurance commissioner to make certain inquiries into the conduct of a home service contract provider as the commissioner deems necessary. Amends provisions of Section 12 to clarify the definition of a service contract. Amends provisions of Section 13 to include that the sale of a service contract to a third party does not constitute the business of insurance for the purpose of federal law, and amends provisions of Section 17 to require a service contract provider to disclose that this home service contract is not an emergency service contract.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea.
Yea.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 381 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill 402, introduced by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor, revises provisions relating to regulatory bodies. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 421, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there is no objection, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to adopt Amendment 421 to Senate Bill 402.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
It exempts the Board of Nursing from the requirement to enter into a reciprocal licensing agreement, authorizes the State Board of Professional Engineers and Land Surveys to require that an applicant pass certain examinations. It amends provisions of Section 245 to clarify that rather than issuing the license, the Commission on Professional Standards and Education adopts regulations governing the issuance of a license, and adds a new section to the bill to require the State Board of Oriental Medicine to examine whether and how to change the name of the board and submit recommendations for the next legislative session.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 402 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 408, introduced by Senate Committee on Finance, revises provisions relating to State Board of Pharmacy. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 422, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Move to adopt Amendment 422 to Senate Bill 408.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
The amendment deletes Sections 1 and 12, which exempts the Executive Secretary of the State Board of Pharmacy from certain provisions, including the limitations of the maximum salary payable to persons employed by the state. Deletes provisions of Section 3, which exempts certain employees from the limitation of the maximum salary payable to persons employed by the state. It deletes Section 9, which expands the list of disciplinary actions that the board may impose against a holder of a certificate, license, or permit, and deletes certain provisions concerning the maintenance of information concerning an applicant's criminal background check.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 408 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
And that concludes order of business number 12 on the third agenda.
All right, Senator Brooks.
Order of Business 9, please.
Thank you. Order of Business 9, motions, resolutions, and notices. Senator Brooke.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we refer Senate Bills 198, 278, 280, 281, 287, 291, 295, 310, and 402 to the Senate Finance Committee.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And that concludes order of business number 9.
Thank you. Order business 16, remarks from the floor, or shall we continue? All right. Moving on to the fourth agenda, order of business number 4, reports of committee.
Madam President, your Committee on Commerce Liver, to which we referred Senate Bills number 44 and 229, 289, 320, has the same under consideration. Begs the report, same back to recommendation, amended, do pass as amended. Signed, Senator Pat Spearman, Chair. Madam President, your Committee on Education, to which referred Senate Bill 347, has the same under consideration. Begs the report, same back to recommendation, amended, do pass as amended. Signed, Senator Mo Dennis, Chair. Madam President, your Committee on Government Affairs, to which referred Senate Bill number 283, has had the same under consideration and begs the report, same back to recommendation, amended, do pass as amended. Signed, Senator Marilyn Dondero Loop, Chair. Madam President, your Committee on Growth and Infrastructure, to which were referred Senate Bills numbers 259, 288, has had the same under consideration. Begs the report, the same back to recommendation, amended, do pass as amended. Also, your Committee on Growth and Infrastructure, to which was re-referred Senate Bill number 303, has had the same under consideration and begs leave to report the same back with recommendation, amended, do pass as amended. Signed, Senator Dallas Harris, Chair. Madam President, your Committee on Health and Human Services, to which referred Senate Bills numbers 201, 329, 376, 380, 390, 397, has had the same under consideration. Begs leave to report the same back to recommendation, amended, do pass as amended. Signed, Senator Julia Ratty, Chair. Madam President, your Committee on Natural Resources, to which was referred Senate Bill number 349, has had the same under consideration. Begs leave to report the same back with recommendation, amended, do pass as amended. Signed, Senator Fabian Dognati, Chair. Madam President, your Committee on Revenue and Economic Development, to which were referred Senate Bills numbers 235, 346, 389, has had the same under consideration. Begs leave to report the same back to recommendation, amended, do pass as amended. Signed, Senator Dina Niels, Chair. End of reports.
Thank you. Order business number 12, second reading.
Senate Bill number 22, introduced by Senate Committee on Judiciary, revises provisions governing deductions from the individual account and wages of an offender. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
Have amendment number 349 proposed by Senate Committee on Judiciary.
Thank you. Senator Scheibel.
Thank you, President. I move to dispense with the reading of Amendment 349.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Scheibel.
I move to adopt Amendment 349 to Senate Bill 22.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Scheibel.
Thank you. Amendment 349 retains the new order of priority for deductions that the Director of Nevada's Department of Corrections may make from an offender's personal account or from an offender's wages. However, it provides that the Director may deduct no more than 25% of any single deposit to an offender's individual account and no more than 50% of any single deposit from the wages earned by an offender. Additionally, the amendment requires the Director to provide an account statement broken down by month to each offender detailing the total amount in the account, the amount and date of each deduction, and the reason for the deduction, and the amount of any debts owed by the offender, including any outstanding restitution. These statements are to be provided to the offender at no charge twice a year. Finally, the Director is to maintain a package program for each offender that is exempt from deductions and that may only be restricted under certain circumstances at the Director's discretion in relation to disciplinary segregation, administrative segregation, or for medical reasons.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 22 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 51, introduced by Senate Committee on Legislative Operations Elections, revises provisions relating to sex or gender-based harassment in the Executive Department of State Government. People of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
Of amendment number 229, proposed by Senate Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections.
Thank you. Senator Orenshaw.
Thank you, President. I move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Orenshaw.
I move that the Senate adopt Amendment 229 to Senate Bill 51.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Orenshaw.
Amendment number 229 to Senate Bill 51 declares that information used to identify an employee in a complaint, report, or resolution document must be kept confidential unless ordered by the administrator of the Division of Human Resources Management, his or her designee, or a court. Provides that before such information may be disclosed, the investigation must be complete and a determination made whether the interests of public disclosure outweighs the interests of the employee. Specifies that this information does not apply to that which may be used to identify an elected official, and clarifies that these provisions prevail over conflicting provisions in any collective bargaining agreement.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 51 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 67, introduced by Senate Committee on Government Affairs, revises provisions relating to public works. People of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 400, proposed by Senate Committee on Government Affairs.
Thank you. Senator Dondero Loop.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Dondero Loop.
I move to adopt Amendment 400 to Senate Bill 67.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Dondero Loop.
Thank you. Amendment 400 makes the following changes to Senate Bill 67. Deletes the provisions of the original bill, provides for the establishment of a 4-year pilot program to gather data on the use of job order contracts for certain public works in Clark County, the City of Henderson, the City of Las Vegas, the City of North Las Vegas, and the Clark County Water Reclamation District. Prescribes the qualifications of a contractor who wishes to enter into a job. Order contract must meet the requirements to advertise requests for proposals or similar solicitation documents and the method for selecting a contractor for a job order contract. Requires certain submissions by a contractor. Requires a public body to submit a quarterly report for the pilot program that contains certain information relating to job order contracts to the Director of the Legislative Council Bureau, and provides that the bill expires by limitation on June 30th, 2025.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 67 is ordered reprinted, engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 77, introduced by Senate Committee on Government Affairs, revises provisions relating to public bodies. The people of the state of Nevada represented in the Senate Assembly do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 383, proposed by Senate Committee on Government Affairs.
Thank you. Senator Dondero Loop.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Dondero Loop.
I move to adopt Amendment 383 to Senate Bill 77.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Dondero Loop.
Amendment 383 makes the following changes to Senate Bill 77. Clarifies that any closed meeting must occur only during the period before the federal agency releases the document addressing the action under the National Environmental Policy Act and begins the corresponding public comment period. Be required by the federal agency to keep confidential under memorandum of understanding or other agreement, and deletes provisions providing that certain information or materials exchanged are confidential and not a public record.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 77 is ordered reprinted, engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 94, introduced by Senator Settlemyre, revises provisions relating to public highways, roads, and ways. The people of the state of Nevada represented in the Senate Assembly do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 350, proposed by Senate Committee on Judiciary.
Thank you. Senator Scheibel.
Thank you. I move that we dispense with the reading of Amendment 350.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Scheibel.
I move for adoption of Amendment 350 to Senate Bill 94.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Scheibel.
Thank you, President. The amendment replaces the bill as drafted and instead adds new language to Section 1, providing that an unlocked gate does not in and of itself constitute a nuisance.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 94, order reprinted, engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 100, introduced by Senator Severs Gansert, enacts provisions governing the interstate practice of physical therapy. The people of the state of Nevada represented in the Senate Assembly do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
Amendment number 29, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to adopt Amendment 29 to Senate Bill 100.
Thank you. I've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
The amendment deletes provisions requiring that a physical therapist or physical therapist assistant practicing in this state under the compact privileges to be deemed to be licensed to practice such professions as applicable in this state. Amend Section 3 and 4 to remove language providing that Nevada Physical Therapy Board issues written authorizations granting the compact privilege, because the granting of the compact privilege is accomplished through the compact. Amend Section 4 and delete Section 5 to clarify the acceptable documents that a physical therapist practicing in this state under compact privileges must display in a location that is accessible to the public, and amend Section 4 to delete the authorization for the board to charge a fee to change a name on a written authorization.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 100 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 102, introduced by Senator Hammond, revises the date on which children must be at least certain age to be admitted to certain grades of school. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
Amendment number 431, proposed by Senate Committee on Education.
Thank you. Senator Dennis.
Can you give me a 1 minute recess?
No worries. 1 minute recess. Okay, we are back in session. We are on the fourth agenda. We are on order of business 12. We are on Senate Bill 102, Amendment 431. Senator Dennis.
Madam President, I move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Dennis.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Senate adopt Amendment 431 to Senate Bill 102.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Dennis.
The amendment changes the date by which a child must be a certain age to begin certain grades from August 1st to August 7th and revises the effective date of the bill.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 102 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 112, introduced by Senator Hansen, exempts certain products for treatment of domestic animals from regulation under state law. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
Have amendment number 260, proposed by Senate Committee on Natural Resources.
Thank you. Senator Danyate.
Madam President, I move that we dispense with the reading of amendment number 260.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Danyate.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Senate adopt amendment number 260 to Senate Bill 112.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Danyate.
Thank you, Madam President. The amendment deletes all sections of the bill except for the effective date and instead provides for the veterinary biologic product as specified to be excluded from regulation under Nevada law. These products are to be administered only to certain livestock, specifically cattle, goats, pigs, sheep, and poultry.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 112 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 114, introduced by Senators Gochia, et cetera, authorizes food that contains hemp to be produced or sold at a food establishment under certain circumstances. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
Have amendment number 270, proposed by Senate Committee on Natural Resources.
Thank you. Senator Danyate.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we dispense with the reading of amendment number 270.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Danyate.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Senate adopt amendment number 270 to Senate Bill 114.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Danyate.
Thank you, Madam President. The amendment clarifies that the bill applies to food establishments at which food is not prepared or served for immediate consumption. Further, the use of hemp or commodities or products made using an approved hemp component by persons who operate a food establishment is conditioned on a determination by the United States Food and Drug Administration that such items are safe for human consumption.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 114 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 125, introduced by Senator Settlemyre, revises provisions relating to falconry. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
Have amendment number 113, proposed by Senate Committee on Natural Resources.
Thank you. Senator Danyate.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we dispense with the reading of amendment number 113.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Danyate.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Senate adopt amendment number 113 to Senate Bill 125.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Danyate.
Thank you, Madam President. The amendment makes various changes to clarify with limited conditions under which a person may possess a golden eagle and requires the Board of Wildlife Commissioners to adopt certain regulations related to bald eagles, and golden eagles.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 125 is ordered reprinted and grossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 165, introduced by Senator Kiefer, establishes provisions relating to esports. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 353, proposed by Senate Committee on Judiciary.
Thank you. Senator Scheibel.
Thank you, President. I move to dispense with the reading of Amendment 353.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Scheibel.
I move to adopt Amendment 353 to Senate Bill 165.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Scheibel.
Thank you, President. Amendment 353 does the following. It expands the commission to 5 members, broadens the technical qualifications of commissioners, and removes the prohibition on commissioner interest in esports enterprises. It requires the commission to appoint a technical advisory committee known as the TAC, whose members will serve without compensation. The TAC is to consist of esports professionals from various areas within the esports industry, including broadcasters, event organizers, judges, players, publishers, teams, and anyone else deemed appropriate by the commission. The TAC will provide recommendations to the commission on esports standards and sanctioning thresholds for incorporation into regulations to be promulgated by the commission. It removes the $1,000 threshold for sanctioning of events by the commission and authorizes the commission to make sanctioning decisions. It grants the commission approval authority over registration applications and extends the effective date of this bill to July 1 of 2022 to give the commission 1 full year to complete its initial work.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 165 is ordered reprinted and grossed into the general file.
Senate Bill 171, introduced by Senator Hardy and Assemblywoman Hardy, prohibits a pharmacy benefit manager from requiring a covered person to obtain a drug by mail. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 410, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to adopt Amendment 410 to Senate Bill 171.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
The amendment prohibits a pharmacy benefit manager and a healthcare insurer from implementing a copay accumulator program to calculate an insured's deductible or maximum out-of-pocket spending. It provides that provisions concerning obtaining a drug by mail does not apply to the Public Employees Benefits Program and adds new provisions to define pharmacy benefit manager for the purposes of the state plan for Medicaid or the Children's Health Insurance Program.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Is there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 171 is ordered reprinted and grossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 181, introduced by Senators Goicoechea, et cetera, and Assemblywoman Titus, et cetera, revises provisions relating to alcohol and drug counselors. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 106, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to adopt Amendment 106 to Senate Bill 181.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
Amendment 106 makes 2 changes to Senate Bill 181. It increases from 1,000 to 1,500 hours the minimum hours of postgraduate counseling of persons with mental illnesses who also have alcohol and other substance use disorders, and adds new provisions that requires that an applicant for licensure as a clinical alcohol and drug counselor complete an additional 500 hours of postgraduate counseling of persons with mental illness who also have alcohol or other substance use disorders, or persons with alcohol and other substance use disorders.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 181 is ordered reprinted and grossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 184, introduced by Senator Hardy, revises provisions relating to practice of medicine. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 401, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to adopt Amendment 401 to Senate Bill 184.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
The amendment deletes several sections of the bill which make various changes regarding issuing a PA license, supervision of a PA, and authorizing a PA to use the title of inactive PA.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 184 is ordered reprinted and grossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 210, introduced by Senator Don Darrell Loop, revises provisions relating to the education of child with emotional disturbance. People State of Nevada, represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 434, proposed by Senate Committee on Education.
Thank you. Senator Dennis.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Dennis.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Senate adopt Amendment 434 to Senate Bill 210.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Dennis.
Thank you. The amendment distinguishes admittance process between an acute psychiatric treatment center and a residential treatment center. It includes relevant language in Chapter 433B of the Nevada Rights Statute to ensure compliance and uniformity with the continued education plan at the facility. It includes relevant language in Chapter 388E of NRS concerning the educational rights of foster children to ensure that section of NRS complies with new provisions established in this bill. And 4, it clarifies that a meeting will be convened prior to the admission of a student to a residential treatment center, and further clarifies the different processes depending on whether a student is identified as having special education needs or not. And lastly, it allows Nevada's Department of Education to develop regulations related to the discharge of students from such facilities and their reentry to school.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 210 is ordered reprinted and grossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 217, introduced by Senator Severs-Gantz, revises provisions relating to applied behavior analysis. People State of Nevada, represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
Amendment number 402, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Madam President, move to adopt Amendment 402 to Senate Bill 217.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
Amendment 402 makes 3 changes to Senate Bill 217. It deletes the phrase equivalent credential throughout the bill, provides that the additional proposed member of the Board of Applied Behavioral Analysis may be a person licensed as a behavior analyst or an assistant behavior analyst in this state, and includes provisions that a licensee or registrant is subject to discipline if they violate regulation of the Board of Applied Behavior Analysis, including, without limitation, the requirement that a licensee or registrant comply with any applicable requirements concerning ethics prescribed by the Behavior Analysis Certification Board, Incorporated, or its successor organization.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 217 is ordered reprinted and grossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 231, introduced by Senator Keffer, revises provisions related to financial services. The people of the State of Nevada, represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 151, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to adopt Amendment 151 to Senate Bill 231.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
Amendment 151 makes 1 change to Senate Bill 231. It adds a new section to the bill concerning the applicability of this state's laws on loans made to a resident of Nevada.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 231 is ordered reprinted and grossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 253, introduced by Senator Settlemeyer, revises provisions relating to alarm systems. The people of the State of Nevada, represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 385, proposed by Senate Committee on Government Affairs.
Thank you. Senator Don Darrell Loop.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Don Darrell Loop.
I move to adopt Amendment 385 to Senate Bill 253.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Don Darrell Loop.
Amendment 385 makes the following change to Senate Bill 253. It removes provisions to information required to be included on advertising by a licensed contractor who installs alarm systems.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 253 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 263, introduced by Senator Settlemeyer, revises provisions relating to elections of people of the state of Nevada represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 398, proposed by Senate Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections.
Thank you. Senator Orenshall.
Thank you, President. I move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Orenshall.
I move that the Senate adopt Amendment 398 to Senate Bill 263.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Orenshall.
Amendment 398 to Senate Bill 263 adds new language to Chapter 293D of the Nevada Revised Statutes to allow a covered voter who is not registered to use the electronic equivalent of the federal postcard application to simultaneously apply to register to vote and to submit a military overseas ballot. It sets forth mail, electronic, and facsimile deadlines for submitting such applications, as well as deadlines for military overseas ballots, provides that a covered voter may simultaneously apply to register to vote and to request a military overseas ballot by submitting the federal postcard or its electronic equivalent by the 7th day before the election, and specifies that a covered voter who is registered to vote may apply for a military overseas ballot via a federal postcard application or its electronic equivalent if it is received by the 7th day before the election.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 263 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 282, introduced by Senator Dennis, revises provisions relating to real estate. The people of the state of Nevada represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 415, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to adopt Amendment 415 to Senate Bill 282.
Thank you. You have heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
Amendment 415 makes changes to the Senate Bill 282, and it provides for the establishment of the account for the real estate administration within the State General Fund, deletes provisions regarding the requirement that money collected from the technology fee be separately accounted for and used for acquiring and maintaining technology used by the Real Estate Division of the Department of Business and Industry. Revises provisions regarding depositing money collected from the imposition of any fine or penalty to the State General Fund. It adds a new section to the bill to reduce from $300,000 to $100,000 the minimum balance maintained in the Real Estate Education Research and Recovery Fund, and provides that any balance over the minimum be deposited to the account for real estate administration. Deletes sections 15, 16, 17, 18 concerning the deposit and authorized use of certain money concerning common interest communities and condominium hotels, and amends section 24 to remove provisions which would repeal provisions concerning the deposit of certain money to the account for common interest communities and condominium hotels.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 282 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 285, introduced by Senator Harris, revises provisions relating to transportation. The people of the state of Nevada represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 476, proposed by Senate Committee on Growth and Infrastructure.
Thank you. Senator Harris.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Harris.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we adopt Amendment 476 to Senate Bill 285.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Harris.
Thank you, Madam President. The amendment makes two changes. It, one, clarifies that the required 3-foot passing distance between bikes and cars applies in all situations, and two, deletes the provision that would have made a collision between a bike and a motor vehicle prima facie evidence of a violation of the section.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 285 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 298, introduced by Senator Kieckhofer, revises provisions relating to inland ports. The people of the state of Nevada represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 362, proposed by the Senate Committee on Government Affairs.
Thank you. Senator Dondero Loop.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Don Darrow.
I move to adopt Amendment 362 to Senate Bill 298.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Don Darrow.
Amendment 362 adds a requirement that the criteria for eligibility to create an inland port and authority must include a requirement that if the boundaries of the inland port include a municipality-owned airport, the municipality that owns and operates the airport must be included in the application to create, operate, and maintain the inland port and authority. Sets forth certain required contents of an ordinance, resolution, rule, order, or other means authorized to create an inland port and authority. Makes certain changes to the appointments of members of the board of directors of the Inland Port Authority. Deletes sections 11 and 15 of the bill and add sections 15.5 to require the Office of Economic Development within the Office of the Governor to conduct a study during the 21-22 interim concerning the viability and funding options associated with developing inland ports in certain megapolitan areas and report the results of the study to the 82nd section of the legislature.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 298 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 305, introduced by Senator Hammond, makes various changes relating to access to organ transplants for persons with disabilities. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 469, proposed by the Senate Committee on Health and Human Services.
Thank you. Senator Ratty.
Thank you, President. I move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Ratty.
Thank you, President. I move to adopt Amendment 469 to Senate Bill 305.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Ratty.
Amendment 469 to Senate Bill 305 replaces the reference to the state plan for Medicaid with regulations adopted pursuant to NRS 422.2368.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 305 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 325, introduced by Senator Settlemyre, establishes provisions relating to preventing the acquisition of human immunodeficiency virus. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 282, proposed by Senate Committee on Health and Human Services.
Thank you. Senator Ratty.
Thank you, President. I move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Ratty.
Thank you. I move to adopt Amendment 282 to Senate Bill 325.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Ratty.
This one makes a conforming change to account for the provisions of Section 1 authorizing a pharmacist to dispense a drug that has not been prescribed by a practitioner.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 325 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 335, introduced by the Senate Committee by Senator Hardy, revises provisions relating to professional and occupational licensing. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 420, proposed by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Thank you. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to adopt Amendment 420 to Senate Bill 335.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Spearman.
So this amendment amends Sections 13 and 16 to require the Division of Occupational Licensing within the Department of Business and Industry to consider input from licensees in the ongoing regulations, investigations, and development of making recommendations. Deletes Sections 262 through 303, which transfers the powers and duties of the State Barbers Health and Sanitation Board to the division. Amends Section 314 to remove the sections of Nevada revised statutes that propose to abolish the State Barbers Health and Sanitation Board, and changes the effective date of the bill to January 1st, 2022.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 335 is ordered reprinted and engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 354, introduced by Senate Committee on Education, revises provisions relating to education. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
I have amendment number 437, proposed by Senate Committee on Education.
Thank you. Senator Dennis.
Madam President, I move to dispense with the reading of the amendment.
Thank you. If there are no objections, so ordered. Senator Dennis.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Senate adopt Amendment 437 to Senate Bill 354.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. Are there any remarks? Senator Dennis.
Thank you. The amendment replaces the term indicator with data, amends provisions concerning a removed student return to the classroom to include those in foster care. It amends provisions regarding the suspension or expulsion of pupils who are at least 11 years old to include consideration for foster youth and to include certain school representatives or other liaisons in the process of determining the cause of certain behaviors. It changes effective date to July 1st, 2022 for purposes other than preparatory administrative tasks, including for training requirements, and moves the requirement for the Nevada Department of Education to develop a statewide framework for restorative justice from Chapter 392 of Nevada Revised Statute to Chapter 388.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Are there any further amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 354 is ordered reprinted, engrossed into the general file.
Senate Bill number 395, introduced by Senator Gocochea, revises provisions governing the funding of capital projects for school districts in certain counties, state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 395, order the general file.
And that concludes order of business number 12 on the fourth agenda.
Thank you. Order of business 8, waivers and exemptions.
Notice of exemption, April 19th, 2021. The fiscal analysis of its division pursuant to Joint Standard Rule 14.6 has determined the eligibility for exemption of Senate Bills 210, 282, 298, 325, and 335. Signed, Wayne Thorley, Fiscal Analysis Division. End of notices.
Thank you. Senator Brooks.
Order of Business 9, please.
Thank you. Order of business 9, motions, resolutions, and notices. We'll take a recess, okay? All right, we are back from recess. We are on the fourth agenda. We are on order of business number 8.
Notice of exemption, April 19th, 2021. The Fiscal Analysis Division, pursuant to Joint Standard Rule 14.6, has determined the eligibility for exemption of Senate Bill number 51 and 100. Signed, Wayne Thorley, Fiscal Analysis Division. End of notices.
Thank you. Order of business, actually, Senator Brooks.
Order of Business 9, please.
Thank you. Order of business 9, motions, resolutions, and notices.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. I move that we re-refer Senate Bills 22, 51, 100, 165, 171, 210, 231, 282, 298, 325, and 335 to Senate Finance.
Thank you. You have heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying yea. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And that concludes order of business number 9.
Thank you. Order of business 16. No remarks, guys? We move on to agenda 5. I see nodding of heads. Here we go. All right, we're on the 5th agenda, order of business number 12, second reading.
Senate Bill number 44, introduced by Senate Committee on Commerce and Labor, revises provisions governing behavioral health professionals, people, state, and Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 44, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 201, introduced by Senate Committee on Health and Human Services, requires licensing of pharmaceutical sales representatives, people, state, and Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 201, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 229, introduced by Senator Ratty, revises provisions relating to practice of pharmacy. The people, state, of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 229, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 235, introduced by Senator Harris, revises provisions relating to cannabis. The people, state, of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 235, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 259, introduced by Senator Dennis, who revises provisions relating to operators of tow cars. The people, state, of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 259, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 283, introduced by Senator Brooks, revises provisions relating to local improvements. The people, state, of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 283, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 288, introduced by Senator Harris, revises provisions relating to transportation network companies. The people, state, of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do act as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 288, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 289, introduced by Senator Harris, revises provisions relating to workers' compensation. The people, state, of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 289, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 303, introduced by Senators Brooks and Spearman, revises provisions relating to professions. The people, state, of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 303, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 320, introduced by Senator Neal, enacts various provisions relating to food delivery service platforms. People, state, of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 320, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 329, introduced by Senator Lang, revises provisions relating to competition in healthcare markets. People, state, of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do act as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 329, order to the general file.
Senate Bill 346, introduced by Senator Neal, imposes a tax on retail sale of certain digital products. People, state, of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 346, order to the general file.
Senate Bill 347, introduced by Senator Scheibel, revises provisions governing sexual misconduct in institutions of Nevada system of higher education. The people, state, of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 347, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 349, introduced by Senator Orenshaw and Scheibel, revises provisions relating to public health. The people, state, of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 349, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 376, introduced by Senate Committee on Health and Human Services, revises provisions relating to child welfare. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 376, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 380, introduced by Senate Committee on Health and Human Services, revises provisions governing the reporting of data concerning the prices of prescription drugs. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 380, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 389, introduced by Senator Neal, establishes provisions governing peer-to-peer car sharing programs. People of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 389, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 390, introduced by Senate Committee on Health and Human Services, provides for the establishment of statewide suicide prevention and mental health crisis hotline. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 390, order to the general file.
Senate Bill number 397, introduced by Senate Committee on Health and Human Services, revises provisions relating to certain persons who remain in foster care beyond the age of 18 years. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none.
Thank you. Senate Bill 397, ordered to the general file.
And that concludes order of business number 12 on the fifth agenda.
Thank you. Order of business 13, third reading, general file.
Senate Bill number 160, introduced by Senators Keffer, et cetera, revises provisions relating to education. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill as a whole?
There are none. Section 3, this act becomes effective July 1, 2021, and a bill.
Thank you. Remarks from the floor. Senator Dennis, Senator Keffer.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Bill 160 authorizes a university school for profoundly gifted students to enter into a cooperative agreement to offer dual credit courses. The bill clarifies that such agreements must be made with a regionally accredited higher education institution located in Nevada, and that each charter school, school district, or university school for the profoundly gifted may enter into such an agreement with a regionally accredited higher education institution in another state if a Nevada institution does not offer such a course. If such an agreement is made with an out-of-state higher education institution, the institution must submit a copy of the agreement to the Nevada Department of Education. The bill is effective July 1st of this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none, the secretary will open the roll. All right, looks like everyone's voted. Does anyone wish to change his or her vote? All right, the secretary will close the roll. The vote on Senate Bill 160 is 21 in favor, 0 against. Bill having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Order the assembly.
Senate Bill number 251, introduced by Senators Seavers, Ganser, et cetera, and Assemblywoman Tolles, revises provisions relating to genetic counseling and testing. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, do enact as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill?
There are none. Section 24, this act becomes effective January 1, 2022. End of bill.
Thank you. Remarks from the floor. Senator Seavers, Ganser.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Bill 251 requires primary care providers to attempt to determine whether adult women to whom they provide services have a personal or family history of certain cancers or meet other criteria for which the United States Preventive Services Task Force recommends screening for a harmful mutation of the BRCA gene. If certain criteria are met, primary care providers must screen for the mutation, provide written notice of the need to discuss genetic counseling and testing, provide genetic counseling, and, if clinically indicated, provide genetic testing. In addition, the bill requires a notice to be sent with the results of a mammogram advising women who have a familiar history of certain types of cancer to speak with their doctor about genetic counseling and testing. Physicians, physician's assistants, and advanced practice registered nurse may receive credit toward applicable continuing education requirements for completing a course related to genetic counseling and genetic testing. Finally, certain public and private health plans must cover screening, genetic counseling, and testing for harmful BRCA gene mutations where such services are required as set forth in the bill. The Commissioner of Insurance of the Division of Insurance of the Department of Business and Industry may take various actions, including suspending or revoking health insurer's certificate for failure to comply with these requirements. The measure is effective on January 1st, 2022. The idea for this bill came from my friend Abby Whitaker. Abby went in for her regular mammogram and was asked if she wanted to do a familial assessment, like a family history, which was actually on an app. It was a simple tool to be used. And when she did it, it flagged her that she needed to get some counseling and potentially get genetic testing. Well, at the facility where she was, Reno Diagnostic Center in Reno, they had access to DNA testing right then, and they swabbed her, so they tested her, and she tested positive. And this was extremely important because these are the odds if you test positive. First of all, cancers, 7 to 10% of cancers are hereditary. They are hereditary. And if you test positive for BRCA1 or 2, the odds of you getting breast cancer in your lifetime are as high as 87%, and ovarian cancer are as high as 44%. So again, if you test positive for BRCA1 or 2, your odds are 87% for breast cancer and 44% for ovarian cancer. And because it's hereditary, once she knew that, she also knew she needed to have family members tested. And eventually her daughter would be tested. And I had a friend, again, to emphasize the importance of this legislation, who fought cancer the entire time I knew her, and she died last year. And when she was fighting cancer in one round, her sister was fighting cancer. Eventually she was tested for BRCA. Her daughters were tested for BRCA. They were both positive, as were all of their cousins. So a family with 6 women, you know, in their 20s and 30s who tested positive for BRCA with those really high probabilities of cancers during their lifetime. So this bill will help make sure women get assessed, and if indicated, they will get counseling and genetic testing so they can take whatever precautions they need to stay safe. My friend Abby, who's also a friend of several people here, just had a mastectomy, a bilateral mastectomy last week. And that was the best action for her at this time, and she may be doing more things, and she's in her early 40s. So I'm really, I urge support of this bill. This bill can save lives by creating awareness and getting women tested who need to get tested, and make sure their family is also tested so they can take actions to make sure they can stay as healthy as possible. So again, I urge your support, and I appreciate this bill being on general file this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Further remarks, Senator Ratty.
Thank you, Madam President. I am just sending my love to Abby this week as well.
Thank you. That was so nice. All right, further remarks. All right, hearing none, the secretary will open the roll. All right, looks like everyone's voted. Does anyone wish to change his or her vote? All right, the secretary will close the roll. The vote on Senate Bill 251 is 21 in favor, 0 against. The bill, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Order of the Assembly. Thank you, Senator Severs-Gansert, for that bill.
Senate Bill Number 127, introduced by Senator Hardy, revises provisions within the Charter of City of Mesquite, the People's State of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, doing act as follows, Section 1 to Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill as a whole?
There are none. Section 2 and of Section 2 and of bill.
Thank you. Senator Hardy, remarks from the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Bill 127 revises the charter of the City of Mesquite regarding the appointment of the city manager and city attorney by providing that if the person first nominated by the mayor is not confirmed by the requisite number of votes of the mayor and members of the city council, that any member of the city council may submit a nominee for consideration and confirmation, still requiring the requisite number of votes, effective October 1st, 2021.
Thank you. Further remarks? All right, hearing none, the secretary will open the roll. All right, looks like everyone's voted. Does anyone wish to change his or her vote? All right, the secretary will close the roll. The vote on Senate Bill 127 is 21 in favor, 0 against. The bill, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Order of the Assembly.
Senate Bill Number 177, introduced by Senator Ratty, etc., revises provisions relating to account for aid of victims of domestic violence, People's State of Nevada, represented in the Senate Assembly, doing act as follows, Section 1 of Section 1.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the bill as a whole?
There are none. Section 10, this act becomes effective July 1, 2021. End of bill. This bill requires a 2/3 majority vote.
Thank you. Remarks from the floor. Senator Ratty.
Thank you, President. Senate Bill 177 revises the eligibility of nonprofit organizations that provide services for victims of domestic violence to receive grants from the Account for Aid for Victims of Domestic Violence. It renames the account as the Account for Aid for Victims of Domestic Violence or Sexual Violence, and the bill requires that an organization must provide services exclusively to victims of domestic violence in a county with a population of 100,000 or more, but need only provide services primarily to domestic violence in a county with a population of less than 100,000. The bill also excludes nonprofits that provide services exclusively to victims of domestic violence from the requirement that they be able to shelter victims on any day at any hour and be able to store and prepare food in order to receive grants. The administrator of the Division of Child and Family Services must allocate 75% of the money allocated to a county under this program for services for domestic violence and 25% to services for victims of sexual violence. The number of grants that may be awarded in counties with populations of less than 100,000 is limited to one applicant to provide services for victims of domestic violence and one applicant to provide services for victims of sexual violence. In a county with a population of more than 100,000, grants may be provided to not more than 2 applicants providing services to each category of violence. The bill eliminates the requirement that 15% of all money allocated from the account to a county whose population is 700,000 or more must go to an organization specifically created to assist victims of sexual assault. The portion of the fee that is collected by a county clerk when issuing a marriage license that is used to fund the account is raised from $25 to $50, and the bill is effective on July 1, 2021. All of that to say, 40 years ago, a very smart and capable woman by the name of Sue Wagner, Senator Sue Wagner, realized that we had a problem in the state of Nevada and that we did not have a dedicated funding source that could support victims of domestic violence. And working with an army of names that many folks in this chamber would recognize, she fought hard, and she was able for the first time to put a fee on the sale of every marriage license that for 40 years has been our primary source of funding for victims of domestic violence. Fast forward 40 years, there have been multiple efforts to find a reliable and consistent level of support from some sort of other funding source, and still we find ourselves here in 2021 with this being the primary source. It's been 11 years since any of the agencies that provide services for domestic violence have received a raise, so they have lost significant purchasing power due to inflation over the last 11 years. So that's the first reason they need to see this fee go up. The second reason is when the bill was originally drafted, there was only the agency in Clark County that was doing services for victims of sexual violence, and so the language has, since that day, only included sexual violence services in the one county. The other 16 counties do not receive any funding for sexual violence. So this raise will allow us to expand sexual violence services to all 17 counties. And then, and it will give that bit of a bump. And then, knowing how difficult it can be sometimes to get a raise, this amount tries to give them a little bit of cushion to move forward so that if it takes 10 years to address this again, they've got a little bit of breathing room. So what I know is today in the state of Nevada, there will be women who will experience either domestic violence or sexual violence. They will make the very brave decision to leave. And when they call for help, they will find out that there is no room at the inn and there won't be a room for them, and that is just not okay. And so we need to do more. We need to do better. And I think that it is time that we give these phenomenal nonprofits that provide these literally life-saving services the support that they need. I urge you to support Senate Bill 177. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Ruddy. Senator Settlemeyer.
Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to appreciate the Senator from District 13 bringing forth the bill. My entire caucus agrees with the concept of finding more resources. I appreciated the numerous conversations we had in your office trying to find different funding sources, and I hope it continues on trying to find a different way. There are some that just feel that the nexus is unjustifiable within the funding source, and that is what many of us object to, not the concept. Frankly, I object to the fact that all governors before have not included this in the base budget because this is beyond a worthy cause, and it absolutely should be funded, and it should not be having to go through this process to find more resources. But unfortunately, I cannot support the doubling of the licensing fees, and I hope we can continue to work together in the vein of trying to find something that is a more rational nexus that will, of course, as indicated, meet the votes necessary to pass. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Hammond.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, I'd like to say to my colleague from Senate District Number 9, I think that this is a wonderful cause. I really appreciate the fact that she's brought the bill. I think it's an important bill. And I do appreciate the fact that when you spoke, you talk about domestic violence and perpetrated against women. In my life, one of the things I love is sports. I played a lot of sports, and most of you guys know I played basketball. In basketball, I suffered a lot of, when you play a long time, you end up incurring a lot of different kinds of injuries. I know I've busted up my chin. I've twisted my ankle so many times. I've hurt my leg. I remember my elbow hurting. I remember I had braces in middle school. I had braces, the kind that had the bands that go around your front teeth. You remember those? And I got hit with an elbow, and the two bands came down, and my lips were all bloody. It was disgusting. But the worst injuries I ever had in my life, I remember because number one, I remember going down the hallway. My mom's second husband, my stepfather, for some reason might have been a little angry that day. I have no clue. But to get to my room, I had to pass by his. And as I walked by, didn't even see him come out of his room. And the next thing I remember was laying on the floor because he had hit me so hard that I fell and lost my consciousness for just a second or two. My mom's third husband had a nice little habit. He had this little cup. It was a traveling cup. And it had that little thing on the top where you just open up the hole so that you can, if you're traveling, you don't spill anything out. And he used to like to shake this thing with ice. And that was my mom's cue to come traipsing into wherever he was at and then take the cup and then go fill it with Crown Royal and 7-Up. It was late on an October night in Alaska, so it was cold. And it was about 11:30 at night, and I heard my mother screaming. And I ran into the living room, and there he was on top of her, hitting and slapping and punching her. And I was about 5'2", 5'3", maybe 5'4", if you give me a little bit, maybe 130 pounds. And I tried to get him off. And he hit me with an elbow to my nose that to this day still I could see the disfigurement that happened. These were physical. I remember also one time I was talking to my sister, I was in my 20s, and she said something that made me think. And then I said to her, the way she talked, I said to her, did this, basically, I asked her if this certain thing occurred, and she confirmed. I guess I had seen when I was younger, probably 11 years old, I'd come down the stairs and saw something that most people should never ever see. And my stepfather was doing things to her that nobody should ever see, and I guess I repressed those memories until that conversation with her, until she confirmed that it was true. So you have your physical and you have your mental. You have a lot of things that can go wrong when abuse and domestic violence are involved. And I can go on and on and on, and I won't. The reason that I tell you this is because at some point, and I remember this in my high school years, at some point I had heard that a lot of times domestic violence is cyclical. You learn, and then you start to demonstrate those behaviors. And I thought to myself, I don't ever want to do that. I don't want to be that person. And I made a conscious decision to seek out and find men who could model the proper behavior, how to be a proper husband, how to be a really good dad. And I remember Doug Whitener, my coach, who took me in for one whole year after my mom left, after she was beaten by her third husband. He was a great role model. My coach, Ron Milligan. Somebody I call Dad, even today, Neil Wold, Maynard Christensen, my stepfather. And I'll never forget my own father, who was a really good role model, who I didn't get to spend a lot of time with as a youth. He had a best friend named Richie. And I remember when I was my early 20s, and I was in New York, and I was visiting, and Richie said to me as he pulled me aside, and he said, someday, if you're half the man your dad is, you'll be a great man. So the reason why I tell you this is because truly, I believe that in order to change my life, I had to do something that would make me a better man and be ready for marriage. And the one thing that really saved me in my life was the institution of marriage. It's the one thing that I believe that really made me want to be better and truly had me on a trajectory that would make me a great father and a great husband. The problem I have, not necessarily with the bill, but it's the funding source, and we did this a while ago, and I still had problems with it since then, was creating some sort of a nexus that really shouldn't exist between marriage and domestic violence. I think marriage can be, in its purest form, the one thing that creates stable families and couples. And so I was trying to find some other source to fund this program because I think it's really necessary. I think they need to have the money, and they need to be able to stretch their purchasing power. I believe they need to be able to go not just in Clark County, but across the state. And I believe that they need to take care of not only women, but children who suffer from domestic violence so that they don't grow up and have the same sort of problems I had. I love the bill. I just can't, I can't support that nexus between marriage and domestic violence. I'd be more than happy to find any other way to find money sufficient for their needs. I just don't want anybody else to have to go through what I did in order to get where I'm at today. And be more than happy to work on this later on as well. Because more than anything, I want to make this issue go away. Thank you very much. I just can't support the bill as written due to the way that it's funded. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Pickard.
Thank you, Madam President, and I appreciate the remarks by our colleague from Senate District 18. I know that must be difficult. And I also want to join my colleagues in applauding our colleague from Senate District 13 for addressing the need. In my view, the embarrassing lack of sufficient domestic and sexual violence services has largely been ignored by this body for too long. I represent many victims of domestic and sexual violence in my practice, and many of them without compensation, and I'm sensitive to their needs. But I too believe that it's completely inappropriate to put the cost of this effort squarely on the backs of the marriage industry. Marriages are on the decline, and we are quickly losing ground as the predominant marriage tourism destination. According to Wallet Hub, we are already the 17th highest cost for weddings in the United States. We are competing with other locations around the country who charge less than what this bill will create, and the incremental cost increase will make a difference. Moreover, as marriages further decline, the income this generates will decline with it. Do we raise the cost again when we find that this doesn't generate enough money next session? We hear that we should do this simply because a prior legislature did it in the past, instead of committing to a permanent funding mechanism in the governor's budget. So the impropriety of the past justifies the present injustice? I don't think so. The key to funding these services to victims of domestic violence is political will. If the governor and the majority in the legislature want to adequately and permanently fund this effort, it is entirely within their power and authority to do so. We could add 5% to the tax on alcohol, which is closely associated with domestic and sexual violence. Or we could simply move $6 million to DCFS in the executive budget to pay for it. Instead, we're choosing to continue to punish an unrelated industry and those that respect the sanctity of formal marriage. I reject the notion that we should continue to build a marriage industry simply because we have for 4 decades. That's simply being lazy. Instead, I call on the governor and the majority to raise the priority of domestic violence services to the level it deserves and adequately fund it as a permanent part of the recommended budget, rather than to continue to punish those that have nothing to do with domestic violence. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Harris.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll attempt to keep this short since we've had quite a bit of debate on this bill. Frankly, I'm a little bit confused. This bill does not create the funding source for sexual violence and domestic violence victims. The choice before us is to increase the funding or not. That's it. That's what we're doing when we press this button, whatever the justification may be. For those of us who have friends or family members who've been affected by this violence, could you imagine the leaders of their state sitting here and saying, I don't like the nexus, so you'll have to wait for help? Is that really the best that we can do? Is it not an option that we vote for this funding today and still continue to find a permanent funding source? Is there some reason that the women of Nevada who need help today need to wait or don't deserve this additional funding because of how it was set up 40 years ago? I can't imagine that that's really the choice we are going to make today. So I implore my colleagues to take a second and think about what a no vote means on this bill. And the women who will not have the funding that they need to get the help that they need, which we all agree on. Let's take our disagreements about the funding source offline. Let's deal with that when it's not at the expense of vulnerable Nevadans. We all know we'll all be at the table. We all agree that this isn't the best funding source and that we need to continue to looking and that it'd be great if we could put this in the base budget, but that is not the choice before us today. It is to fund or not fund. I would think that would be an easy choice. And I'm hoping that there is something inside each and every one of us that says, voting no on this bill because we don't like the funding source just doesn't seem right. So I hope everybody will take a breath before we push this button and think about what it means for everyday Nevadans. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Senator Severs-Cancer.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank my colleague from District 13 for bringing this legislation forward and from District 11 for her words. And I have to tell you, we've heard some really strong stories today about family history and how domestic violence and assault affects our families. And when you look at legislation, it's really never perfect. It just isn't. And we're known for that. We have legislation every single day that we could basically vote no on everything if we wanted to. There's always something where you may disagree and it's easy to say no. But sometimes we need to step up and we need to look at the big picture. And we need to recognize domestic violence and assault are very prevalent. And with our spending so much time at home and in isolation for the last year, the numbers have significantly escalated, and we don't really even know what they are because much of it's probably unreported. So in my mind, we've heard a debate this evening, and there are valid points on each side. We really should have this as permanent funding, but before us is a choice whether we fund more or not. We absolutely recognize it's a huge issue, and it's a growing issue, unfortunately. And I'm looking at the big picture, and I urge your support of this legislation because we know women, children, men, families need this help. And if they don't get the help when they need it, they may not come back. And they may not have an opportunity again. Who knows what happens to family if there's not the resources available when they finally take the step to move out or to report or if something happens. So I urge your support of this legislation. Again, it's never perfect, but this is the right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Severs-Cancer. Senator Spearman.
Thank you, Madam President. Appreciate the comments from my colleagues who suggested that this should really be in the budget. And I guess my comment is really a question to the senator from Senate District 3. We'll be closing budget soon, and I think the only way we can get this in the budget is probably some type of an increase. So if that's palatable, want to vote for an increase, whether it's increase in tax or whatever, want to vote for an increase so we don't have to do this, hey, I'm down with that.
Thank you, Senator Spearman. Further remarks? All right, then. The secretary will open the roll. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't see the lights go up again. Senator Ratty? Senator Hardy?
Thank you, Madam President. I was probably about 12 years old when I had a valuable lesson, maybe 10 or 11. My mother said, "We don't hit girls." And that's what I learned, and when I learned it. And I think sometimes we put a fence at the top of the cliff to keep people from falling over, and sometimes we put an ambulance at the bottom of the cliff to take care of them after they fell over. I think that this particular thing is doing a valuable service for people who have had trauma, either emotional or physical, and that is a valuable service, yet at the same time it's an ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. So as I've said before, I think we have to do something preventive more than we do constructive and protective after it's already happened. I have gone on the record that I would vote for a tax. I think we need to do something before the violence happens. I think realistically, if you look at domestic violence, there is a certain and not always juxtaposition of alcohol. And so why don't we tax alcohol, which decreases inhibitions, and we all know that does, and so I have said, that I would vote for a tax to do so. I think this is laudable, what we're trying to do, and I appreciate those who have been voices to protect people who have been and are now being victimized. Wish that they weren't, but sometimes I think it's a preventive thing that we have to do. I appreciate those who are doing this, and I appreciate the attempt to do something to fund this. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Hardy. Senator Ratty?
Thank you, Madam President. Just real quickly, I think it's important that there's a couple things that are accurate on the record. This bill doubles the portion that goes to domestic violence and sexual violence victims. It does not double the entire marriage license fee. There's only a portion of it. So I just think that that's an important clarity for the record. And the other thing I think that is important as well, I appreciate there's been lots of conversation about women, and certainly the majority of victims are women. I think I would be remiss if not recognizing that we do also see men and transgender individuals and cisgender individuals. That domestic violence is something that happens across all kinds of partnerships, not just man on woman. So I think that's important for the record. I want to just say that I appreciate the debate and the concerns that folks have. I also appreciate the support. I particularly appreciate the comments from my colleague from Senate District 15 is there's no perfect moment, there's no perfect bill, right? So I think we have to do what we can do in the reality of the situation that we find ourselves in today. And the reality of the situation that we find ourselves in today is going through a budget where we are making 12% cuts across the board to all kinds of very meaningful services, K-12 education, services for people with disabilities, behavioral health services, childcare services, you name it, we are cutting it in this session. And so for me, the reality of this session at this moment in time of making a general fund appropriation and putting it in the budget that has been suggested does not seem a practical solution in this session at this moment, given where we find ourselves today. And I have some concerns. There have been lots of comments about the liquor tax, and I certainly, in my public health hat, have been behind trying to figure out how to raise liquor taxes in many different instances in my life. However, at this moment in time where we find ourselves in the middle of a pandemic, when our major industries that are built around hospitality, that are built around the restaurants, the bars, they have all been kicked in the teeth. And I just don't know that this is the right moment in time to have that particular conversation either. And I am concerned that many of my colleagues would feel the same way, and we just can't get there right now at this moment in time. So I think that our job as legislators is to make the best vote that we can on the bill that's in front of us at this moment and this time. And I think, having seen the numbers on marriage licenses, having seen the pent-up demand, seen that they are back up to pre-pandemic levels, lots of folks out there wanting to get married, and I know from having talked to lots of folks about this bill that there are many people who are very happy to know that a portion of their fee that is going to their happiest day goes to help other people. So again, I appreciate the debate. I thank everybody, and I urge your support.
Thank you, Senator Ratty. Are there further remarks? All right, then. Madam Secretary, can you open the roll? Okay. Looks like everyone's voted. Does anyone wish to change his or her vote? All right, Madam Secretary, can you close the roll? The vote on Senate Bill 177 and 16 in favor, 5 against. The bill, having received a 2/3 majority, is declared passed and ordered to the Assembly.
And that concludes order of business number 13 and business of the desk for this legislative day.
Thank you. Order of business 16, remarks from the floor. Senator Canizaro.
Thank you, Madam President. And I did want to extend a thanks to our staff for a long day and their very diligent work in helping us to reach this point of the evening. We appreciate it very much. And with that, Madam President, I would be remiss if we did not also take just another moment in memory of Marshila Lyons, our Deputy Director at the Legislative Council Bureau Research Division, and thank everyone for allowing us some time to also acknowledge that loss in our little legislative family today. And with that, Madam President, I would ask that we do stand in adjournment until the hour of 11 a.m. on Tuesday, April 20th, 2021, in honor of Marshila.
Thank you. You have heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Or yay? Opposed, nay. Motion carries. You guys, we did pretty good, and you guys are good. All right. Thank you.